different.
Or, the level of recipient, I'm not a person that really needs like daily affirmations or lives in quotes and stuff like that. But I realize a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like they get through their life like that.
Yep.
Like for me, the secret is really no secret. You get what I'm saying? It's really just about living. So that was very, very helpful through that time because I definitely was very, very lost. And it was very different feeling than any loss that I had. And I mean, I had definitely, working with the young people and stuff like that. I mean, I had clients that I was really close to working with young people that, were murdered and done stuff unexpectedly. And there definitely was emotional bonds, but it's different with a parent. And I mean, I've lost and prior to that, I had lost, my grandfather, my uncle, so relatives who I had emotional attachments to. But it just is very different because I think that in some ways, when we lose a parent, you can't help but question the notion of your origin as well as the length of your existence. Right?
It makes you question your own mortality?
Yeah, your own mortality, but also like your presence of what is it that you are doing here. And I think that adds to the kind of scary rubric that goes with, the 5 stages of grief or whatever. I think that is a stage that probably maybe should be added or explored because it goes deeper than your own mentality, you know what I mean? Because it really does force you to think, like, why am I here?
Yeah, that to me sounds like the question of purpose or legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's your purpose? What are you here to do?
Right. If anything, am I even here to do anything? You know what I'm saying?
But so then that actually would lead me to wonder, has it led to like this spiritual shift or any change in spirituality? I
mean, not really. I don't think so because I've always believed in the universe. I'm not a religious person. I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in this one God theory. I don't believe that Jesus died for our sins. But I do believe that there are forces and energies that are greater than humankind that influence or have effect on how things happen. I mean, it's just, a little bit of science and a little bit of just watching, I guess.
Yeah.
So for me, I think my spirituality, did I have a mega catharsis? No, but does it help me appreciate that life is precious and that we should honor it and live it how we want? Like, yeah, that it just made that belief stronger. That's a core belief I've always had, but it just made it stronger. Now, am I doing everything to live kind of that life to my fullest? I'm not really sure, but I'm just riding the wave, baby, riding the wave.
And we're not here to judge you or each other, right? Right. And I think it's a day-to-day and sometimes even a moment-to-moment process, especially when you're dealing with loss, because I know, it's easy for people to lose energy, to lose motivation. Even if you have that change in your thought process or a strengthening in your thought process that we are here for a reason, I just don't know what it is. It can lead to kind of a sucking of energy from you too. So it's normal to kind of ebb and flow with your own grieving process.
Yeah, and I mean it does suck the energy from you, but like sometimes you don't even know it. So back to when my mom died, so I'm doing therapy, right? So, and I do in-home therapy fee for service, which, as you know, if you don't see clients, you don't get paid.
You're not getting paid.
Right. So I was not able to take a break, really, other than the planning and stuff that it did, for the service. I didn't take much of the break. But I had a really great supervisor, and she said she encouraged me to keep working. And not because, she was trying to make money off of me, but she said because she felt that how I was as a person, if I didn't keep working, it would just eat me up a lot, right? I did keep working. You know, I didn't want to, but I begrudgingly had to because, of course, I had to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. But all I know is if I didn't keep working, what happened to me internally and emotionally while I was working, if that's the level of what happened to me while I was working and keeping myself busy, I am scared to see what would have happened if I didn't. Right? Because it just was like, it just was crazy. And I did it, I believe it or not, I did it for like almost 3 years. And then I had a client that died almost the same way. And I mean, I don't even know how I did this, Damon, but like my colleague and I would like go in and do family therapy with this woman and her family as she lay dying in her bed, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
She ended up having liver failure and stuff like that. And I remember, like, we had to bring her grandson to see him because she had custody of her grandson and granddaughter, and they removed them from the home when she was hospitalized. Mm-hmm. And we brought them to see her, even in the hospital. Like, it just was like a kind of deja vu. So after that, I was like, yeah, I can't do therapy anymore. So I took the summer off and went to California and went to Mexico and stopped doing therapy for 2 years.
You said for 2 years?
Yeah, but now I'm back to doing it again.
Okay. But, I think it's good to hear that because I was actually just having this conversation earlier where sometimes we just push ourselves so hard through whatever it is, whatever the pain or the hurt or the loss may be or the trauma, that when we get those moments to slow down, it's like, oh, there it is still, and it's in those moments that I think it's really important to change course, or to take a break or to pause at least for a minute. I was talking to somebody recently and he was saying, what's the point of just laying around and feeling sad and sorry for myself for my loss? It's better for me to just get up and get out. And I think, like you said, there's two parts to that. It's it helps you to just continue on and work through whatever the loss it is. But it also, in some ways, distances you from that emotional process and keeps you safe from kind of breaking down until you have then something else that triggers the original hurt. And it's like, okay, now I am listening and I'm going to do something about it. If that means taking a break and just removing myself from what it is that I normally do.
Yeah, and it did get like that because I just was like, it's a wrap. I couldn't do it. I started to like resent my clients. I started to be like, wow, that's your problem? That's all you have to manage, and I was just like, I knew that wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And so I went to California, went to Mexico, took a trip, and then I came back, and then I was like, and I did do some therapy in between that time. Like, I definitely did therapy in between that time, which definitely helped and made me not feel guilty for being like, I couldn't do it anymore. Right. And then, I did something else for a couple of years and basically realized I was still doing therapy, so I just went back to it. And, it's definitely a different ball game for me now. Because, too, I was always, really invested in what I've been doing my whole career. And, now I'm at the point where I kind of realize, I expended a lot of energy assisting others and I don't want to say managing their lives because I'm not that vain, but you know what I'm saying, just doing this work in some ways to the detriment of my own emotional, personal, social, professional life and well-being. So now the boundaries are different.
Mm-hmm. And I think that just speaks to the difference of when you get into the field and you go in and you're all gung-ho about saving the world. And then at some point it's like, wait, I have to take care of myself too.
Right, exactly. And that is what I'm focused on now. I forgot, someone said it a few years ago and I love it. I'm not selling out, I'm buying into, and so I'm buying into me. So part of buying into property is you got to set limits. You have to set boundaries.
I got to write that one down. I love it. It really is an investment. That's what it is.
It is. It's an investment in self and in, your brain and everything. Like I told you, even with my car, like I'm really frustrated by that, but I've done a lot of breathing today. So it helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it helps to do that. And that is what really has gotten me through. I mean, friends helped, definitely always reaching out. I mean, definitely your brother was a beacon for sure. We had a lot of phone conversations and talks of just being, you know what I mean? Just having someone that that you can vent to about things, and as we say, no judgment. And that was all really helpful. But I will say the breathing, definitely number one.
All right, so I think we've touched on a lot of the action plan, right? Because you talked about the affirmations and how it doesn't necessarily work for you the same way it might work for somebody else. But I'm gonna come to the creativity in a minute. But I'm gonna circle to that. But you talked about talking to your own therapist and doing that introspective work at some point, like later on in your career, to take a break, to be self-aware enough to take that break and then go back into the field. And now you're talking about like this power of being just in the present moment, just breathing.
Right. I mean, I think that it's a very underestimated tool because it's very easy. It's very easy to get caught in the past of nostalgia, right? Because great times, you're thinner, you're younger. Like it's very easy to do that, and it's easy to think about the future. And if anything, I think that a lot of the loss that I've experienced has kind of given me the perspective, maybe to a fault, that, the whole 10-year, 20-year planning, is that really realistic? Is that a fallacy?
When you say the 10 or 20-year planning, do you mean like what people ask
just like
you?
Living in the future. I was going to tie it in being in the moment to the breathing, because it's very easy to do either or, but to breathe, it does force you to kind of be in the moment, to sit with the situation. And it's not about dwelling, because I think a lot of people feel like when they're in the moment, they're dwelling, or when they're looking for peace. I had a client say that by breathing and looking for peace, she felt she was settling. And I'm like, but settling and peace and a peace of mind are two different things. You know what I mean? And I think that without actually doing it, people can't see that.
Right.
Like, can't see what it is to be in the moment. Not that you don't, the past totally informs a lot of what we do. And it is good to, look to the future of legacy of what you're going to leave, what you're going to do, how you're going to do for future generations. I think that is a good thing. But I think that any kind of hope, like hoping of or worry about something that will happen, or hope or worry that's tied to something that did happen, no good ever comes of it.
Right.
So that's why I decided, like, I was going to use a technique that many, many cultures have used throughout hundreds of thousands of years.
It's tried and tested and true. And
exactly. Yep. So, and it's free.
And look, I'm telling you, do you actually use like a particular breathing pattern or technique, or is it just...
No, I'm not using a yoga technique, but I just do deep breathing, 5, then break, 5, then break, that type of thing.
Yeah.
If I'm stretching, I do get a little mobile or whatever.
Okay.
Stretching. I just make conscious. I just try to be conscious of, even if I'm not doing it a lot of times during the day, like especially when I wake up, do the deep breath, the arm extension, stuff like that. Like that helps, the exhale, inhale.
Yes.
Those things, that's what works for me. I'm not necessarily sitting and breathing and meditating, though I did today about my car. because I knew, like, I just needed to bring it down because I was going to be in the house all day. Because you know how that is. It's like, I had nowhere to go, but if I didn't breathe, I would have just been all caught up, but now I can't go anywhere, blah, blah.
And you would have gone down that rabbit hole. Right.
But we do that to ourselves a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, we will worry and wrap our heads around stuff that we have no intention of